is enormous data influx. How would you advise students of economics to decipher the data?
The analysis of big data, economics has learned now to do with huge rewards from that. One of the biggest names, not just among Indians but in the world, is Raj Chetty. I don't know if you've seen some of his work. I find it fascinating, absolutely, that in fact the burden of detailed statistical work, sophisticated statistics, is going down. If you see sample data and then have to predict for the population, you need a lot of statistics. With big data, that need is going down. So in some ways it is easier, but you need a lot of computing skills, which I don't have. Someone else has to collect the data, organize it. But very often the patterns become visible when you have big data, and so it's very exciting work, and students are encouraged with a little bit of computer science background so that they can organize the data and look at it carefully.
My next question is, what advice would you give current economics students who will steer policy decisions in the future?
Right now the aim is to learn the discipline properly. When you're a student, you want to really get as much mastery as possible. But I will give an early advice which I learned the hard way, that what we learn in the classroom is full of assumptions. You can't avoid assumptions because to create any structure you need assumptions. But you have to keep reminding yourself that those are assumptions. I might go out into the real world and find that that assumption is not valid. But if I'm trained in the method of economics, I then change that assumption and then create a scenario from which we give policy advice. I remember my early days when I went into advising the Indian government in 2009. Inflation was very high. So a lot of our time was being going on inflation management, which must not damage the economic growth too much. And there were many things I would learn that, look, this is not what I learned in a textbook. Reality is complex, but then you must have the flexibility to reconstruct that and then apply policy. So that's what you're training for.
What will be the key features distinguishing best economists of today?
That I think is the same thing. The most important is what I was talking about in the lecture, the capacity to be aware of the assumptions that are hidden in our heads. And when I look at, I know these are just dramatic big examples, and who can aspire to that, but if you think of someone like Adam Smith, in the olden days everyone is staring at the world and the marketplace, and you're getting surprised. How is there this much order? There's chaos, but there is also order. Then it suddenly strikes Adam Smith that it is happening because of this whole thing, and he's questioning some of the assumptions of his time. So I feel the most important trait is you learn the assumptions, but keep your mind open to the fact that those assumptions may be wrong and you may have to reconstruct.
According to you, in what direction is the Indian economy moving?
The Indian economy right now that I've been writing about and talking is in a better spot than many other economies. But there are two things which have to be kept in mind. One reason why the growth numbers are looking so good is we are climbing from a big drop. In 2020, it was a huge drop. India had one of the biggest drops. We are climbing, so the climbing gives you bigger growth. But India had a remarkable growth period from 2003 to 2011. We are not yet quite back there, but we are almost there. So on that it's looking good. I have some concerns, two concerns that I've again been writing about, that we are becoming a very divisive society, very polarized society. That at one level may look unconnected to the economy, but I think there are things like investment, where trust, cohesiveness matters a lot. We have to work on that. We have to stand together, have this collective thing, the trust among one another. We need to nurture that. India's investment rate, Dr. Rangarajan has written about that, I have written about that. The investment rate right from 2009, this is not today, from 2009 the investment to GDP ratio is going down. We are not paying enough attention to this. And finally, unemployment rate is very high. So the world is doing well in the world, but unemployment is high. So we have to bring in a lot of expertise, attend to this, and the fundamentals are strong and we should be able to do well.
What do you think of the conference organized by the activities?
Very, very well, I think about this. I have to say, as I said in my lecture, that last 2 days I'm feeling energized and optimistic. It can be a bit of folly on my part based on one institute's interaction, feeling optimistic, but talking to your students, your faculty, last evening's discussion, the modern approach being brought, good minds being brought, openness. Openness is extremely important. You want a forum of discussion where I say I disagree with you, and that does not immediately get politicized. That space seems to be here. It's a 2-day experience, but I'm feeling very good, I have to say, and this I'm saying from the bottom of my heart. I was telling my wife last night that I'm feeling just positive about India. If we can create these kinds of zones, it's just very, very good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think of RBI's decision to take forward the rupee as a fully digital currency?
I feel on this the RBI is moving right, that ultimately I think the whole world is going to go fully digital. There will be nothing called paper currency anymore. Money is going to be a record kept on a computer. RBI has done that right in saying that we don't want to jump into this. We want to be cautious and careful because it's something new coming. So I feel we are moving in the right direction on this front.
And lastly, what is your take on India beating post-COVID Russian war recession? Is this true? If yes, why not?
Beating the
post-COVID Russian war recession.
There I have more words of caution and question mark. India right now is doing better than most other economies. But if the rich countries, advanced economies, Europe already is in big trouble. US is not doing too badly, but US can get into trouble. China is becoming so authoritarian and closed that its decision making is going weak. China could begin to fumble. If these big economies are beginning to fumble, it is going to come to us. It won't be our doing, but it will come to us. So we can't afford to be complacent that we are doing well. It can become a major global problem. So I feel we have to begin to build the bulwarks to be able to take on if the floods do come into our country. We have to be prepared for that, and we need to work on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.